All right, here we go. Next game, we've got rematch from China. We've got JDG versus BLG. This was a big part of last year's Worlds storyline. Yagao and Bin looking for their revenge, but JDG just looks unstoppable. JDG and Gen G, class above everybody else. They just look so much stronger. We're going to get a chance to see a super matchup later with T1 and Gen G. Looking forward to that. And then I mean, yeah, just JGG looking so strong. Unlucky for BDS that they played against this team. Not only are they probably the best team in the world, but also 369, the best weak side player in the world. And if you're playing through Adam as a carry, you're just like, all right, sweet, I can mitigate that all with 369 going by himself on that lane, just taking Adam to the limit. Did end up giving a lot to Adam, so potentially gave some respect over. And Adam, the Adam fans are growing in Korea. We'll see if they're able to survive. I believe they're playing on Monday in an elimination series, so we'll definitely be watching that to see if they're able to do it. Definitely want to see gods. The meta game against BDS is give them Renekton. They are winless on Renekton. They will not win on Renekton. Adam is not very good on Renekton. He builds it wrong and he levels wrong. So I 100% of the time would just create a draft that says, here, you want Renekton, and you just constantly offer it to them. Get him off of his comfort picks. Get him to play off his own meta. Shows how important it is to play to your own meta and what is strong for you. Taking a peek at this composition, we've got Renata paired with Kalista. This is one of the two pairings that we see most often with Renata. We see Draven and Kalista because these two champions are so good at finding kills, securing kills for themselves. We see our first Vex of the tournament, which is a pretty big deal. Very good into the dashes of Aatrox, Vi. Not as good into Talia. Talia is going to have the pushing prio here. Vi is very strong in that mid game, though. We're going to see if they're able to turn that into kills for themselves. Renekton versus Aatrox, super Renekton favored. We see that already to the tune of a 10 CS advantage, and Renekton going for vision into the enemy jungle. Now, this might give them a little bit of misinformation. Look at this ward. He's dropped this ward, and Vi was able to take these 4 camps, and now she's going to go around. So actually hides the start from 369. What Renekton was trying to do was take this crashed wave, 3-wave crash at 230, you come in, you get this ward, and you can actually contest enemy jungler because you have a Dorn's item and they don't. All right, so that's why you're looking for those fights. Often you can catch them taking those camps as well, which means that they might already be chunked. Vi going for 3 camp, starting red and adapting. Love to see adaptation at this level of the game. Potentially they're going to think now that we have a bot pathing Vi, but combined with the Kalista vision, you see that Kalista has put out this scout right here that is going back and forth. This is why Kalista is so much better in pro games than it is in your solo queue games, because they use this to get the most amount of information. They're trying to find out exactly where Vi pathed, and by sending that sentinel down here, you see that all 3 of these camps are done. That rules out what Vi might think of as a hidden start. So I love the layers there. That 369 is looking for an invade so that they can get deep vision and maybe figure out the path. B, that Vi recognizes that might happen, and so takes red first and comes back, potentially hiding her start. Now she thinks that her start has been hidden, but Kalista has actually solved the puzzle for them, and now that means that Vi goes over and may hang out trying to set up a gank for themselves. But Renekton is able to play defensively in that window. Love to see that level of adaptation across the board. Now, both top laners are down their wards. First recall is going to matter here. We're going to have 34, so we're going to see probably a serrated Dirk here from the Aatrox, looking for that first back. Opts to actually not take it. Renekton just balancing the waves and coming back. Means that we might have a dicey situation in top lane. We definitely have a dicey situation bot. We see the power of Ruler on Kalista. Now, Elk has been one of the best carries in the entire tournament over the entire year, really, for the past 14 months. Largely had been, for the longest time, their source of carry, of course, being a Jax main, and liking to take the advantages for themselves through Jax and playing through Bin. But the emergence of Elk has allowed Bin to not always have to be the carry. interesting enough that they take Aatrox here versus Renekton when you could have ended up tank versus Renekton, and that just outscaled, and just allow Elk to be your carry. I don't like this combination that they're putting so much damage on the table here and basically going to fold to Renekton as this game unfolds. Now, importantly, 1100 gold spent from both champions, but it was spent first by Renekton, meaning that he was able to harass Bin off of a recall, means that he has another pushing wave for himself. He's got prio in this situation. And it means that he's going to be first on the map. It's going to allow him to help contest for top scuttle. That means that Zune is going to have to back up. Jarvan collects top scuttle for themselves. We actually see JDG kind of winning across the board here, taking first dragon, having multiple chances. You get better prio in top lane. That means that you're going to have the scuttle crab. You're going to have prio at this moment from Vex. Basically, you need to have 4 points into the queue, and you have to have enough mana from Lost Chapter to start getting the push with Talia. The fact that you need to spend all 3 of your spells, whereas Vex can just spend 2 Qs, means that there's going to be a difference in wave clear from this point. Now, Ruler's Flash is down on using this angle right here. This is a very common one for Blitzcrank players. You can just tuck yourself into that wall. You can't see it in this wall, but there's actually a little bit of a dimple in this construction that allows you to sit there and hide. Even if there's people here or here, they can't see you. You can see it much better in the top side. If you've ever watched the Baus FFS stream on Sion, that's one of his favorite spots, to just tuck himself into that little divot, and then he goes and gets these big empowered Qs off on Sion. On using that for himself on the bot side of the map on Blitzcrank. Now, half K gold lead. They're going to get them back for themselves. This is a double stacked wave that Kai'Sa is going to be able to pick up. But Kalista getting first recall if they choose to use it. They actually end up stalling their own recall. Blitzcranks can step ahead of the wave, meaning that they're going to keep that wave frozen, and they're going to harass Ruler off of the recall. Means that this could be a little bit of a dicey situation. That said, you like this spike. You will take this as Kalista. Berserker Greaves versus Serrated Dirk. This is not an empowered Q, so you want this situation for yourself. It looks like BLG realizes that that's the case, and they bring Vi over. Oh, beautiful step by Ruler. So good. Waiting for the... Oh, Zune, you cannot step forward into that. You're going to see a huge chunk of damage. But actually, Kanavi missing the ultimate means that Elk is going to get the upfront damage. Kanavi getting the reset from Renata means that they actually survive in this in the fight. They're able to get multiple kills for themselves. It means that you get multiple flashes. Yagao actually flashes on top of his own Weaver's wall, which means that he gets blocked backwards into the spot, allowing them to get more follow-up damage, and that is tragedy for BLG. You saw how they brought over numbers trying to get themselves out of that Berserker Greaves spike for Kalista. They could have just walked back from a freeze. They opted to try to harass Kalista. They opted into that situation and then failed to execute it. So very, very tough for BLG. That's definitely one that they're going to want back here. Fact that they missed by 1 auto attack, right? They lost it as he goes into vision there. That's the difference between securing that kill and not securing it. You see right there the flash from Yagao over his own wall, kind of pinching himself in. The fact that Renato was able to go over and get the second life, the Shimmer second life, such a big deal for that fight. All right, JDG's got this game in hand now. Early game champion. They've got spike, spike, spike off of all of them. They're all going to be stronger, especially Vex with the early Luden's Echo plus Sork Shoes is going to be a huge problem. On top of that, with Jarvan, they are going to try to snowball this team. Now, it is a team that needs to get ahead, right? You don't want to be playing into endgame Talia, Aatrox, and Kai'Sa. So they're going to want to take the maximum off of these spikes. Now, Couple more things to talk about, the synergies in the composition, right? Vex, obviously, front to back, you can get a lot of angles in coming in from distance. Renata can hold them down for Vex to get in. Front to back, you've got Callista and Jarvan. Jarvan can make terrain for Callista to dance around, makes it very easy for Renekton to slam the door shut. So I really like the composition that they've put it together for themselves from JDG. It means they're going to have plenty of angles. Now, that said, Blitzcrank can take the best laid plan and change it, right? Just flip it on a dime. Like Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Well, Blitzcrank is the epitome of that, or the realization in League of Legends of that concept. Ooh, look at this. Renekton going to take it to Aatrox. That's a big mistake. Aatrox using his dash forward to try to land the Q. Getting to the sweet spot, 369, reacting to it immediately and taking a hugely favorable trade. Both ultimates are down, and we're going to have a tremendous HP lead here from him. And this is even into the teeth of the refillable, meaning you're still going to be stronger. You're going to be first to rotate. You get to stay on this map with all of your fury. Means that he's going to have this push, 1130. Wave means he's going to be able to get out onto the map as well. This is when mythic spikes are coming in. How did they even see? Oh, they saw it off of this word. Okay. Good job hiding their vision, standing on that wall to come over, just going in, knowing in the darkness that they've got a Blitzcrank that they will be able to upfront their damage on. So really well played. Love seeing wards in non-traditional places that don't get hit by sweeping lenses, right? That's what you want to accomplish from a lot of these wards. When you go for these shallow wards, you want them to be out of the vicinity of the traditional control wards or sweepers that might be coming into vision. Let's see if we find an angle just out of range. We saw the other day that a Callista tried to use their Q to dodge Blitzcrank, but the fact that they locked themselves in the animation for that microsecond was the difference in Blitzcrank actually connecting with them versus not. Now, Renekton, looking to take the most on the map, has that high level of sustain, opts to go in for the camps. If you're in solo queue, don't spam ping this guy off your camps. He's doing you a favor. He's leveling up the camp for you so you can get better experience resources to go through the rest of the game. Not just that, but your Jarvan, right? Your job is to just facilitate the lanes at all times. So anytime that Renekton wants to get bigger off of a camp, sweet, let him do it. Now, this is a situation that you need to get out of. You're Renekton with plated steel caps versus Gordrink or Aatrox. You need to find a way out of this situation. Looks like he's just going to go for poke into poke, trying to take away some amount of resource. If you can even get like 30% of the Aatrox's HP before you recall, that would be fine. But he's obviously going to need help to get out of this spot because of the amount of sustain that a level 11 Aatrox plus ultimate threat, now that they're both back up, is going to provide for them. We'll see if this is a window. I'd expect Vi to come over. Why is Vi not coming over to this angle? This should be a kill that they're able to consolidate for themselves with a tremendous lead. Tremendous. They opt to take it elsewhere. Aatrox gets the minimum with his spike, which means we're going to see a full Gore Drinker prop bot by Renekton here. And he comes right back into the lane, and immediately it is favored to him once again. Low level 11s across the board from the laners. That means increased range on the Weaver's wall from Talia. Means that they can try to find these angles. What you'd like to get is a team fight where Talia is going to create this wall and then Aatrox kind of spearheads them into it. And because that they're kind of like hold into one area, it makes it very easy for Blitzcrank to try to land his Qs. Or if you miss somebody, you can potentially pull them onto your side. That is one of the teamfight synergies that they're looking for themselves. Normally you see something like Gnar picked up in response, especially in response to a Renekton. You'd love to have Gnar with Talia as one of those strong combinations. Beautiful hook here. Oh, predictive from Kanavi to jump over the back of them. Gets all the resources from Elk, and we see what the level difference and the just economy difference for jungle versus AD is in the early game. Pre-spike, you're always going to be stronger as those fighters, and they're actually going to take the rest of this fight. This is going to be an early ace. My goodness. 3-man Gore Drinker. We've got the empowered auto attacks. They end up getting one of the kills back for themselves, but that is a wipe on the floor. JDG taking a tremendous lead now. 4K, this Callista is going to be unstoppable. Blade of the Rune King almost probably going to have an entire Rage Blade now. Those 5 kills. Knight surviving again. This is a story of them being able to survive just those extra frames, mattering that they get extra spell rotations off. Did you see how Knight played that? Yes, you get chunked. Okay, I'll take a deep breath. I'm still okay. Let me cast my shield. Let me deal some more damage. I've got an extra E and a Q off before I go for my stopwatch. Force you to deal with me for the longest amount of time. You chewed through my shield. Okay, now I will go into stasis. Making them wait the longest amount of time possible, gets them to overcommit, means the whole team ends up getting cleaned up. Uses his flash, which means that Vi has to use flash and ultimate to try to get that kill. And by that point, there's no more team fight to be had, right? JDG is going to be favored. All of those tools were used onto Vex and on... Well, basically, yeah, just onto Vex. So all those tools being used there means that Callista is able to clean up the fight for themselves. Smite Rend combination, always lethal. JDG taking this fight. This is another case of what are you doing? Your team is so far behind. Why are you just sitting here standing at this dragon? Best case scenario is maybe you outplay them and coin flip them. You're just not going to get this compositionally. You're weaker. It is an early game team that has a lead, that has a dragon lead. Why are you contesting this? You are literally griefing, guys. You're just trolling. Hate to see it. I really do hate to see it. I expect better from these teams out at the world stage. All right, 5.5K gold lead. Going to be completed Rageblade here now as well. Like, what have you accomplished here? Nothing. A little bit of chip damage just so that they can find an engage. Returning in, like, you're just trolling. Been just trolling his team. Notice how you always have someone staying in this bush, making sure that you keep the vision. Would prefer to have a control ward to drop in that bush as the fight's breaking out. That can be the difference between winning and losing. If you are going to go for that fight, you have to put all your eggs in that basket and just make it happen. Now, taking stock, 8 kills, gold lead, 6K to the advantage. We've got completed full spike on Callista. We do have an early spike from the Kaisa as well on double lethality, but it's not nearly as strong as Callista from this point. It's just not even close, in fact. We're going to see Zhonya's coming online. Double Gore Drinkers means that these guys can stay in the fight for longer. Radiant Virtue will come online from Renata. That's an interesting adaptation, saying, hey, like, I'm casting my ult. We're very much about winning this fight and all-inning, so I want Radiant Virtue just to peel for my team. I'm just going to go cast my ultimate and then stand wherever my team needs me to get that extra healing. You don't normally see that from Enchanter supports, but just a testament to how strong Radiant Virtue is compared to everyone else. The analysts have gotten it right on this one, and you see, like, it's not as good, for example, as it is on Rakan. Rakan just being able to position himself wherever the fight is, wherever that grand melee is going to happen, you're going to be able to stack it. I love what JDG is doing right now, stacking their strength, saying, yeah, we can deal permanent damage. You want to get this turret down to 1100 health, all right? So these base turrets have 3300, and as long as you get them to 1/3 intervals, they won't heal. Okay, so if you get it all the way down to 1101, it will heal to 2200. But if you get it just past that threshold, then you'll be able to count that as permanent damage. The fact that they got the Herald charge plus the couple auto attacks means that this is stuck under 1/3 health, which means that is a permanent liability. That means any slow push that you can stack starting right here will be enough to kill the turrets. We've spoken about it before, but the 2 ways that you can create slow pushes are level advantages. All right, so right now across the board, +1, +1, +1, and +1. So they've got 4 extra levels. That means that they've got less than 1, but they still have a level advantage. Their minions are going to be 5% stronger. And for every level that your team is up, your minions are going to be 5% stronger than theirs. That will create auto pushes for you. The other thing that you can do is just chip at a wave, just take away the caster minions on an even wave, and go from there. I'm remiss having missed out some of this fight here. This is what JDG didn't want. Notice how the difference in the fight here is they didn't walk in all of their steps. You see how this wave is here and this wave is here? They went way ahead of their vision. That being said, they're that far ahead of their opponents that they can take this. This is pretty common in the Chinese and Vietnamese regions where they just go and they go fight, 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 fight. You do want to dot your I and you want to cross your T. Get these waves up into position. Get yourself prio in these lanes first. Then you can go and wedge yourself into this vision. Then you can go back, and with the vision advantage you can go after the big prize, which is Baron. That's one thing I'd like to see slightly improved from JDG. Let's look at this. Notice if we just pause right here, yes, it feels like you have this advantageous pick on Yagao, but look where Renekton is, look where your waves are. The fact that you're going to be into the maw of their vision, you haven't secured this for yourself. Yes, you get this big chunk, but what is going to come off the back of that? Right? You're actually giving them this the fight that they want under their terms on their side of the map. They're going to be able to rotate faster. Everything about it means that they get to do action first, and they get to do it better. But that said, at this point, we're talking about a wallet diff. They're just slapping them with their wallets right now. Kanavi especially. Spear of Shojin and Core Drink are done. You see how strong this champion is at this stage in the game. Just non-stop EQs. It doesn't count as crowd control, so it is fully refunded by the Spear. Means that they're going to be very, very strong. Expect them to move over into the Baron now. They've got the vision line secured. The wave has been pushed in. That means that they come over to the dragon themselves. The Smite Rend combination, very, very strong. Interesting interaction that we saw there, by the way. Elk trying for an assassination onto Vex. I like that you're going for that. You know that their team is moving over to Baron. You want to take, again, like these 1v1s and 2v2s where you might be able to get an advantage if you get the first strike off. And in this case, you're like, all right, let me see if I can do this to Vex, but Vex able to pop the shield in response. Also, the fact that Kai'Sa using that big dash is going to empower the Vex passive to get more fears. And in that case, it looked like it came right after. Let's see this. Yeah, it's not charged up. I want to see the end of this, right? Yeah, we don't see it. It looked like that dash. It looked like an E cast or a shield cast to empower themselves. But it did not get the fear off. It will be interesting if you can ever stop that Talia mid dash, or if you can stop Kai'Sa mid dash with one of those effects. You cannot stop Vi. She is indomitable at that point. Now, dragons, because you were winning and because you have the Baron, means that they're going to come up and they're going to push this. Expect pushes into adjacent lanes. I really don't like where Kanavi's at. There's no business up in the top lane. You may just be strong enough that you don't care, but still, like, why are you taking this 1v2 in limit testing? Maybe he's going for the brand recognition, saying like, hey, look how strong I am, guys. Jungler #1. No, you know, jokes aside, he probably is the best jungler in the world, and he is strong enough to maybe win that fight. But again, why are you giving them that opportunity? Wedge yourself into this area. You've got pushing lanes on both sides because you've got Baron. Adjacent lanes, you can have a fighter flank in. In this case, it can very easily be Jarvan or Renekton. Usually you're going to have Renekton stepping up. Oh my goodness, Ruler's actually going for the maximum here. Stepping up into the face of the Aatrox, just knowing they're that strong, saying, hey, like, hey, you want to fight, right? You guys want to come fight. All right, look at the battle lines. Look at this position. You see how they say long flanks? Kalista on one side, Renekton on the other. Mage in the middle. You're trying to not ever group the three of them up, so if any engage does happen, it's never going to be versus all three of them. This is very important to sort of keep this formation. Only now, once you have cannons and the turret down, do they step up and take anything more. They don't want to take the risk while you have all of it. Beautiful ult by Renata, not even needing a ult flash to reposition. Gets everything that they want, and a clean victory from JDG. BLG just fumbling around the pits. Just another game where you give it away by challenging into the point where they're strong. Like, it makes no sense. Stop doing it. I don't want them to take that spot. Find the position that you want. Get them to come to you. See if they fumble into that position. But JDG looking really